pro wrestling fans to the PW Fan. The PW Fan is a pro wrestling podcast created by fans for the fans. Thank you for joining us. This is episode 65. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all of our friends and listeners. We are back. I am your host, your grumpy old school wrestling fan, collector, barber, and musician, Talk Wrestling, Tim Gilbert.
Mary Chrysler. And I'm your host, the architect of pro wrestling podcast and Funko Pop collector and Steelers fan. We did win 2 nights ago. Andy.
I'm also your host, the no-selling wrestling indie fan and football lover, Jeremy. And also, World Cup's over, so club football is back now. That means Liverpool starts playing again.
Oh, no.
Let's go Liverpool! All right. In this episode, we will be discussing Ricky Starks, The Bloodline, a rotten AEW segment, some news in the world of pro wrestling in general, and more. All right, guys and girls, please, before we get started today, go to youtube.com and search the PW Fan. You'll find all of our episodes, new and old. Subscribe and help us get to 100 subscribers so we can have an official URL. We have merch on ProWrestlingTees.com/the PW Fan. 5 shirt designs total, 3 different PW Fan logo shirts, and 2 Booker Andy shirts. Go check those out. Some of the coolest wrestling shirts out, I guarantee it. And find us on all other social media by searching at the PW Fan, where we kindly ask that you subscribe, leave a review, like, all those things help us out so much. All right, Booker Andy, over to you, buddy. Get us started on this week's new episode.
All right, so Raw this week opened up with didn't open up with the Bloodline. I don't think so. Before we get into it, about the Bloodline and Raw is that basically throughout the entire show, the Bloodline would be attacking people. That was kind of the theme of the show. Is every so often they'd be attacking different teams and different individuals, either backstage or in the ring. So
I like when they do those segments.
Yeah. I mean, it got them on. It got them on the show, and I guess I'm trying to remember why they did it. It was just in a way to just show the Bloodline dominance. I guess they didn't really explain it too well.
They started doing a little bit of that the past few weeks, right? Where they started attacking people backstage, but I guess it's just more like they're attacking everyone now.
Yeah. We did see something new. New as in we haven't really seen it in a long time. We had a intergender match. Yeah. We had Rhea Ripley versus Akira Tozawa. And if you could probably guess, though, based on size-wise, Rhea Ripley beat Akira Tozawa.
I don't like this.
But it makes me wonder, what do you guys think that they'll do it more? Do you think it's just a Rhea thing, kind of like how they treated Chyna, with only Rhea's going to be the one, because she's the one that's been scoop slamming Luke Gallows, and I think maybe it's probably just a Rhea thing. I don't hate it if it's just her.
Yeah, I don't know.
If it's just her, I don't hate it.
I'm going to choose my words carefully here. I'm not a fan of men and women fighting, even if it's simulated. Now, I will say, I think totally Ronda Rousey or somebody, if she meets your average Joe in a bar and he's talking smack to her or whatever, she's going to whip his ass. All right, it has nothing to do whether you're male or female. I don't know. I just think the simulated violence on women, I'm not super stoked about. I didn't like it back then.
You don't like men beating the shit out of girls?
No, and but I feel like even though
she whipped his ass.
But I feel like having that opinion's almost scandalous in a weird way. It's what, you don't think she could take it? I'm like, no, I'm not saying that. I don't know. Not a huge fan of it.
I think it's more because WWE for the longest time was they would never do it, and they made it a thing. It was if a male wrestler came into the ring, the woman wrestler had to exit immediately.
Well, if you remember, they had Ronda wrestling Triple H a little bit at Mania. She was punching him.
Yeah, well, that's the exception because she can really go.
Yeah.
Like, she's already proven to be like a real fighter.
You're like she could actually beat the shit out of him if she wanted.
Like
Yeah,
you said, though,
she could.
it's not like it's become a regular thing, right? Like, if all of a sudden,
It's just a Rhea thing, right?
yeah,
now.
like all of a sudden you had, Charlotte versus like Sami Zayn, I'd be like, what are we doing here, guys? But
Yeah.
it's
For
not
the
that.
intergender championship.
So it's not that. Rhea Ripley's the only person that I guess if you're gonna do it. Well, besides Ronda, I mean, if we were being totally realistic, Ronda could probably whip everybody's ass except for like maybe like Lesnar.
Not me.
And yeah, okay.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, all right. I love that dude. There's like dudes out there that just think because they're a dude, like they're like, oh yeah, I could take her. I'm like, oh my god, dude, she would destroy you in like 5 seconds. But there's people that literally think that.
Immediately
like,
break your arm.
and see, that's the thing. I don't want what I said to come off as any certain way. I'm just like not a huge fan of it because it's like, okay, so she has a couple
It's not your
matches
cup
again.
of tea.
I don't know. I just always felt weird about it. I didn't like when they would do it when I was a kid. The only time I thought it was funny is when Mae Young got powerbombed by the Dudley Boys. I don't know why. It just was so shocking that
That's the one you choose?
It just made me laugh. Like
It's like the time they checked a woman off the Hell in a Cell. That time works for me, but a little match with Rhea.
They power bombed her off of the stage.
Off the stage, but I know I'm just.
She was she's
my
60 years old at that point.
My dark humor kicked in, and it just was like so much that I just thought it was like the funniest shit I've ever seen.
All right, so not a fan.
Yeah.
It was something different though, and I thought it was worth mentioning.
Yeah.
Oh,
The Miz
totally.
and Dexter Loomis. The Miz and Dexter Loomis then had a ladder match that had, I think it was a briefcase or a bag of money, something.
Yeah, something like that.
And the Miz ended up winning because a returning Bronson Reed came out and attacked Dexter Loomis and helped the Miz win. Now Tim is probably sitting there like, who the hell is Bronson Reed? Well, Bronson Reed is this big boy. He used to be in NXT, and then he was let go, and then he went to Impact, and he wrestled under the name Jonah. He's on a big Australian guy.
He's huge.
Yeah. And I guess, Triple H always saw something in him. This is another guy that Triple H brought up from NXT
Triple H
days.
likes those big guys too.
Yeah, he likes big boys. He's like, yeah.
Is like you in
So
the
he
gym?
brought him up apparently to the main roster, and
Triple
he's
H
gonna
needs
be
like
at the
his
Miz's
own.
side.
Triple H needs like his own, like Vince has like the Vince voice, just like, oh yeah, pal. He's like, you're fucking huge or whatever.
Oh yeah, he's fucking huge.
Yeah, he's like, have you seen the guy? He's fucking huge. That's the
I saw a
worst Triple
post,
H
though.
impression ever.
You're damn right, it was me, Sean.
You're damn right, it was me, Sean.
It was me, Sean. I saw a post though right before we started recording that relates to this Bronson Reed stuff. Has there ever been like a Miz lackey that ever became a star? Daniel Bryan doesn't count because it wasn't really his lackey.
Whoa,
Yeah, I was
dude.
gonna say him. But
Don't underestimate how over Mizdow was. Mizdow was super.
Oh,
you,
yeah.
Did anything though come of him individually? Damian Sandow,
He got fired later.
I mean,
Alex Riley, Damian Sandow, the B team.
Okay, to be
Ciampa
fair,
got hurt, so it's too early to tell.
Yeah.
Ciampa's hurt.
technically, Daniel Bryan was a Miz sidekick.
I just said it doesn't count
How? How does it not count?
because Daniel Bryan didn't want to be with Miz. His
Dude,
character.
it doesn't matter.
He was
Dude,
forced.
If you were, I know that those.
These
were
are all
the-
guys that willingly were like, we're here for the Miz.
I am telling
And
you.
also, Daniel Bryan was not he didn't get big because of the Miz. He got big after he was done with the Miz.
Yeah. Well, that's my whole point. Has there been any that have gotten big after being with the Miz? And the answer is no, because Daniel Bryan doesn't count because it wasn't like he's like, I want to be on Miz's side and learn from him.
Hot
He was
topic
forced
here.
to be part of it.
besides Team Hell No and
story.
like the Yes movement, Michael Cole and The Miz helped Daniel Bryan get over when he first got there. He was I love Ring of Honor, but
you're forgetting what the definition of the lackey part is that I'm saying. It's someone that was looking towards Miz as a mentor and being like, I'm
are we
helping
talking
this guy
behind
out.
the scenes or in storyline? Because in
storyline, character-wise. We're talking about character-wise. Daniel Bryan's character on screen wasn't like, I'm joining the Miz's group. Like, all these guys are coming in to help the Miz on purpose.
That's what you're saying.
Don't blame it on the jizz, okay? He doesn't deserve your shit.
He came to play.
He came too much.
He came too much. Okay.
That's the jizz.
We're just going to move on. The jizz. Episode of the title? No. Terrible episode.
The jizz came.
So during earlier in the night, we had the OC and Alpha Academy, and I believe towards the end of it, the Bloodline got involved in ambush the OC. AJ was not out there, so we challenged Sami Zayn later in the night to a match with AJ, and so I wanted to talk about their match that they had. Good match, these two guys. Sami did end up winning. And he won with a blue thunder bomb, which he hasn't used as a finisher in a long time.
It's usually like a close count.
Yeah. But he hasn't won with it in a while.
Yeah.
And AJ hit spots like the moonsault DDT to the outside, but a good match. I don't think I've ever seen a bad match between Sami and AJ. So
yeah, I mean, Sami is like the MVP of WWE right now.
He's awesome
every week, I think.
Dude, yeah, we'll
It's
talk about
crazy.
him more from SmackDown.
It's crazy. We've talked about this in the past on the show, but it's just wild that El Generico, which is the generic luchador, he didn't talk. And underneath that is literally, come on, let's be honest. He's the most charismatic person that's in the company right now. Like, whether it's funny or like, he gets more reaction than almost anybody besides Roman. Yeah, dude, he's great. And it's a guy that didn't even talk, and he had a mask on. And underneath that, now he's like the second biggest personality that they got.
Even Corny likes him.
Yes, he does.
That's saying something. We had a segment with Seth Rollins and Austin Theory. They had a confrontation in the ring. The Usos interrupt, and Austin Theory, like he does as the cowardly heel, dipped out of the ring and just left Rollins there. So the Usos interrupt to take out Rollins, and then Kevin Owens comes out to help, who obviously has been having issues with the Bloodline lately. And this would eventually lead to our main event, which we'll talk about in a second. But we had a match with Becky Lynch versus Bayley, and it was actually very good. I say actually because I feel like, sometimes the televised matches don't live up to par, but this was a very, very good match.
Which I was surprised they put this on TV.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
So it was a very good match. Bayley ended up winning in the end, and then like I said, we had the Usos in a main event that got booked after attacking Seth Rollins. So we had the Usos versus Rollins and Owens, and Rollins and Owens ended up winning. And afterwards, Sami Zayn, got into the ring, had a standoff with Owens, but decided not to do anything and walked away.
Didn't Owens just untape everything? He was like, walked away, or is that Sami?
Sami walked away.
Oh, that's right.
In the end.
I like the storyline that they're doing between those two.
Or I think Sami walked. Now you got me confused. I don't know. Someone walked away.
One of
them walked away. Yeah. So that wraps up Raw. Let's get into Dynamite.
It was a very up and down episode.
Yeah. but it started with an up.
Yeah.
We had Ricky Starks come out, and he cut a pretty good promo, I'd say. Talking about, his match with Max, and basically that he's going to keep coming for him, and he eventually will be champ. During this promo, though, JAS came out. It was Sammy, Jericho, and Daniel Garcia.
Yeah.
Were at the top of the ramp. And they had a little back and forth, made some funny comments to one another. Ricky ended up making fun of Jericho, saying that you're dressed like a single father on his 5th divorce. He said that the J in JAS stands for jobbers, to the Jobber Appreciation Society ever since. And he said this because Jericho had lost to Action Andretti the week before.
And he called him a jobber.
He called him a jobber, yeah. But a match ended up being set for, I believe, next week. And it's going to be Jericho versus Starks. In the middle, or towards the end of the promo, though, they had said something like Starks should watch his back or something. No, that's a different promo later on. We'll talk about that. Jake Hager, though, did attack Starks from behind, and Action Andretti ended up coming out to a nice pop after the week before. And
it's cool they're making him a star.
Yeah. And I'd read that Jericho wanted to do something with him after seeing him on Dark or something.
Yeah, that was a crazy story. He saw him 3-4 months ago, and Jericho still had to do the stuff with Claudio and the Blackpool Combat Club. And he was like, I'm going to have a match with him, and then he's going to beat me. And then it was 4 months later. And
is Action Andretti an MCW guy or something?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we, again, we don't always talk about where we exactly live, all right? We don't want any freaks showing up at our houses. But, no, but we could easily get to an MCW show if we wanted. I just was curious. We've been to quite a few, so.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Also,
he's actually a really good wrestler.
Speaking of
MCW, that match with
Jericho
was really good.
Speaking of MCW and indies and just, in that world, I just wanted to give a congratulations to our friend, Bro Keller, on getting married. If you guys, if you all see Bro Keller with his newly short hair, you can thank yours truly.
Fans are like, I fucking hate it. Fuck you, Tim.
All right, well, first of all, you bunch of dicks, he asked me to do it for his wedding. He was surprising his wife. He wanted it. And, no, seriously, I put a lot of thought into it, to be real. I didn't want him... I thought if he had, a buzz cut or his hair was too short, it would be too weird. And I knew... Yeah. I'm dead serious. I know this is cheesy, but I know in the ring, you got to have a little something to move around, help get the good snap.
Flip up.
Yeah, the hair moves around. Yeah, well, he had long hair though, dude. All those guys had long hair at one point. Even
terrible
Zach.
Long hair.
It doesn't matter because it
blonde.
It works for what they do. But anyway, I kept that in mind. So we gave him a dapper cut. Congratulations, bro. Can't wait to have you back on, and hope everything's great, buddy.
Congratulations.
Okay. Well, yeah, congrats, bro. We've talked about possibly having him on the show again, right? At some point.
Oh, we're definitely having him on. He said he's down anytime.
Cool. I forget sometimes that you actually talk to him when you see him.
Yeah, I'm not going to use his. I'm not going to use his shoot name. You guys can't hear his shoot name on the air, brother.
All right. Moving forward, we had match 5 out of 7 for the best of 7 series. The Elite versus Death Triangle. This was a no DQ match. It was a good non-disqualification match, I guess.
Yeah. They're trying to do something different now.
And the reason why it came about is because the Elite, Death Triangle used a hammer the week before, so they said, if you want to use weapons, why not just make them all legal?
And I've heard I've heard that match 6 is some other kind of like gimmick match, and then 7 because of Asuka.
It'll go to 7. The Elite won this one. They're not going to be like, let's not fill up time.
Yeah, and the 7th one apparently is going to be a ladder match, which I think is going to be insane between those two.
I'm looking forward to
a good way to cap it off.
I've been watching a lot of ladder matches. I don't know why, but last night I fell asleep watching this Best of Money in the Bank thing. It just kind of came on after one of pay-per-view, and now I'm like, okay, I'm like have a re-obsession with ladder matches. So stick around at the end of the show when we talk about our classic show of the week. I got one of the all-time great ones that we're going to talk about. So just saying, It's a good one.
So after the Death Triangle and Elite match, we had a promo from Bryan Danielson, who we haven't heard from since the William Regal attack. And it seemed like he started talking about Regal, and it seemed like he actually, and like his love for him, it seemed like he actually was getting emotional.
Mm-hmm.
And they were in San Antonio. This is important to say why, but he was talking about how he was trained in here from San Antonio and had his first match here, and he was trained by Shawn Michaels, and it was weird because then the crowd started chanting HBK, and it was weird to hear an AEW crowd start chanting HBK.
Well, they're in his hometown.
I know. It was just...
There's just like a different vibe for a show, and then you're chanting HBK, and I'm like,
Yeah. Stokely Hathaway, though, ended up coming out with Ethan Page, and the stuff they were saying wasn't good. He kept talking about vegetables, and like, I don't know.
And then Danielson's just like laughing at him.
Yeah, and Danielson said something about Stokely, and Stokely called him a raggedy bitch. And
that was funny. Just the way he said that too. He's like, "You raggedy bitch."
Yeah, I don't know. So Ethan Page ended up like blowing off Danielson's challenge for a match there in San Antonio, and said that San Antonio sucks. But it seems like Danielson also did, in a way, call out MGF, and once.
Yeah, that was the whole point.
That was the whole point of him coming out.
Ethan Page, yeah.
But it seems like Page is going to have a match with Danielson first, and that Danielson should be in the back of the line because he wasn't in the tournaments.
Which I totally forgot about that happened.
How can you forget? There's so many of them. Yeah. After that, we
Did we talk about on the air? I don't think we did. We've taken we took the week off. Did we talk about that in that interview that Tony Khan did? I will get the source for housekeeping next week. But
Tony Khan, man. No,
but he said that he learned how to do booking from internet fantasy booking. He had an wrestling league on a website, and he said,
"Are you talking about like tournaments or just like booking in general?"
No, dude, he's being dead serious. He said that that's like if we do
booking from booking my action figures fighting.
No, okay, but seriously, think about this. We have the Booker Andy joke, but Andy always, he does get shit right. But that's like if Andy was a billionaire and he had disposable money and he was like, okay, I know what I'm doing. He's like, I got this.
A couple things I got right. I'm gonna make a whole company about it.
Andy's like, I got 50 predictions right in 2 years. All right, I got this shit. But
I feel like that's something you probably shouldn't say.
So he said that he was involved with a forum, a forum, and there was like an e-booking, kind of thing, and
it's like a fantasy league.
Yes, and he said, I really cut my chops doing e-booking on. I was like,
it's real experience.
But now, though, if
sounds
you think
just like
it makes so much more, his booking makes so much more sense. Like now, I'm like, oh, okay.
It's based off of that.
I'm like, now I get it. You play with it like literal action figures.
He's a Mark booking matches.
That's like if like one of the guys who plays fantasy football ended up being like a head coach for a team.
Okay, and again, I just want to point out here, like
fantasy isn't
Andy, Jeremy, and I.
Yeah.
Andy, Jeremy, and I are not like wrestling analysts or wrestling journalists. We're wrestling podcasters and fans. Okay, we're just giving you the perspective of like
marks
of a mark. Hey, if you want to call it but I don't give a fuck. If you want to say that, then fine. But
that word doesn't bother me.
It's just like we're not gonna sit here and be like. I mean, we'll say what will be cool, or like I wish they did this, but like we're not gonna sit there and like start being like okay,
fucking idiots. They should have done this and this. Like we
no, like we know what our role is. We're like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just his book. I don't know. That's wild to me that he would say so confidently, like, "Oh yeah, we would do e-feds." And e-fed, that's what he called it, my e-fed. And he was like, I really cut my teeth.
Got my chops from it. Yeah,
my e-fed. Got my chops.
He didn't want to say that he learned from like one of the legends he has backstage, stuff like that. And be like, it's fantasy league, guys.
Jim Cornette.
Well, speaking of Tony,
they like he like called. I'm just like, dude, you have all these people. Jim doesn't want it, but. He even said, he's like, I don't even care. I don't want it. But there's all these people out there that could help him with booking the show with all this years of history. And I'm like, dude, what are you? I don't know. It seems like you're running out of ideas. Like, and I know I'm rambling, but what I'm getting full circle at is Andy made the comment, like, how could you forget they do a tournament every fucking week or whatever? But it's like, it's true. It's like after a while, it's like I don't want to see another tournament. Like stop.
Yeah, you gotta have breaks.
Well, speaking of bad decisions by Tony Khan, we had Big Bill.
Oh,
Big Bill is a bad decision name. If it was a Tony Khan one, Big Bill taking out Jungle Boy backstage after Hook's match. And then let's talk about this terrible segment. Okay, dude, Rick Ross.
What was Rick Ross doing,
dude? Dropping F-bombs, saying motherfucker on television. That's what he was doing.
He just casually did that too.
He's like, damn, you a big motherfucker. And Keith Lee's like, he looks at the guys on the outside like, oh.
Yeah, Shivani's face too was like, oh,
all right,
okay.
So Rick Ross is out there and he tells Keith Lee to come out. It's so weird.
Yeah, and just the way he introduced him too.
It's just
like how Rick Ross did that. I was like, just say it normally. Don't be weird about this.
Okay, yeah, so it didn't take long for him to drop an F-bomb, and he basically took over the entire segment. He would just like spout out stuff randomly.
Even when like I don't know if you're getting to this point, but like, even when like Swerve and like I don't know those other guys were beating up Keith Lee. And Rick Ross is over there like, whoa! I'm like,
that's what I'm saying. Like he took over the segment, and it's like apparently it was supposed to like introduce Swerve and his new faction, which is called Mogul Affiliates.
It's not a horrible name.
I mean, I guess it makes sense for them, but so yeah, they had Parker Boudreaux and some random unnamed guy that is tatted all over, tatted on his face. I heard he's like an ex like athlete or something, but I think I honestly thought I read that he was an ex baseball player, and I was like, but that his face tats?
He played Little League in 5th grade.
So yeah, they started attacking and beating down Keith Lee, and they took him backstage. Or no, didn't take him backstage.
No,
but,
they just did
but during the
block.
beatdown, it was almost like played second fiddle to Ross, who was just like talking the whole time, like while he's being like, "Whoa!"
Yeah, I was like, "Can someone go get the mic from this guy?" Like Shivani should have been like, "Give me the mic" after they start attacking him.
Yeah, it took away from
the disrespect that
getting over
Tony
the
Schiavone
team.
gets weekly. I just can't tolerate. They never let him actually interview anybody. They always take the mic away from him. They push him off camera, and he stands there looking like, "Don't touch me." Dude, I'm like, can the man just fucking interview somebody for once like he's supposed to? Like, good lord.
You're like, what the shit, Tony? It's like, all right.
I'd love to go back into AEW and see if there's a segment where Tony keeps the mic and interviews the person through the whole segment without getting interrupted, the mic taken from his hand, pushed.
He did with Punk and Cody.
Yeah, you know why? Because they're old school. And they have some lower respect. Jesus Christ.
So our main event of the show was Hikaru Shida versus Jamie Hayter for the AEW World Women's Championship. This was a very good match. You know, both ladies are very good at what they do. I don't think
I feel like
anyone
Hayter
expected Shida to win though, but
I feel like Hayter just gets better every match, like as in like performance wise.
Yeah,
but it's cool that she's the champ now.
So afterwards, Jamie Hayter and Rebel and did Britt come out? Britt Baker?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Either way, their little group started attacking Shida, and then Toni Storm runs out and rushes the ring, and then Saraya comes out and rushes the ring. Makes you wonder if Soraya's mystery partner is going to be Toni Storm, or if Tony probably wants to surprise it with like Sasha Banks or someone.
I was going to say that.
We'll see.
Because she's going to be in New Japan.
I mean, it'll be a one-off if it is, but it won't be like Mercedes is all elite.
I don't know, maybe. I mean, well, isn't it because...
She would run circles around these women wrestlers. No offense to them, but maybe a little offense, all right? She would run circles around Saraya, too.
Maybe a little offense.
That's true.
I like that.
Tony Khan can give her that money that she's asking for that WWE didn't want to give her.
Yeah. I don't know. I heard her one place she went, then she asked for money. Her pay was like ridiculous or something, right?
Yeah, she wants like what would they compare her to Charlotte or something like that? Like that type of money.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were just like, no.
I don't know. I wonder what New Japan's paying her. But she'll be at Wrestle Kingdom, which I think is probably coming up sometime soon, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be a really good show.
I don't know. I'm just excited for the Rumble.
I know. Kenny and Will Ospreay.
Well, I was telling Tim, WWE allowed Carl Anderson to wrestle there, and then, he kept the title, and then obviously he's going to be on Wrestle Kingdom. There's rumors out there that, WWE is going to want something in return, like maybe give us a guy to come in the Rumble. It'd be cool. Yeah. Booker Andy would have Jay White in there at the same time as Finn and AJ.
Oh, yeah.
Booker Andy.
But do you think the WWE audience would get that?
They knew who AJ Styles was when he came. People that go to the Rumble are like hardcore, like...
That's true, yeah, they are.
Hardcore fans.
Yeah.
Or Will Ospreay. More people might know Will Ospreay than Jay White. I don't know.
Yeah.
So we'll just have to wait.
Cool either way.
We'll have to wait and see. But, it'd be interesting if they did have someone from New Japan. Or Okada.
Ooh. Yeah.
Okada would be a good one.
Okada. Imagine that entrance, too. That'd be awesome.
The money.
Yeah.
So that wraps up, the Jamie Hayter match and Hikaru Shida match. That wrapped up Dynamite. Let's get into SmackDown. SmackDown was recorded the week prior because it was the Christmas episode. And Bloodline started the show with Sami Zayn and the Usos and Solo Sikoa. And Sami, the audience kind of forced Sami to, take over the segment in a way.
Yeah.
So they kicked off the show, and Roman ended up, getting on the mic and kind of saying that, we have a Kevin Owens problem and like whose side is Sami going to be on, because he's supposed to have a tag match with Roman this coming Friday with Cena and Kevin Owens, and Sami ended up saying, "I found I found family, I found respect, they love me." He said, "There's a black cloud hanging over my head, and its name is Kevin Owens." And he said, "We are the show, and we're gonna leave them mangled." I don't know. I'm waiting for one day for them to get back together, and I think it's gonna be before Mania. But for now, that main event should be fun. Cena and KO versus Sami and Roman.
Yeah. It's funny because the longest time, like, I didn't want to see Cena back anytime soon. And now when he comes back, I'm like, oh, it's pretty cool to see him again.
Dude, I used to hate Cena, and every time he pops in now, I'm like, let's go. Like, when he came back for his feud with Roman, I was all about it.
Yeah.
So, after that, we had this took a little bit of time. It was a women's number 1 contender gauntlet match. The winner in the end, though, was Raquel Gonzalez. So she's going to get a title shot to Ronda Rousey's SmackDown Women's Championship. After Raquel wins, Ronda came out and said, "You actually have one more opponent." And out comes Shayna Baszler, and Raquel somehow beat her really quickly. So Raquel continued to be the winner. I mean, if Shayna won, what is Shayna? Ronda's gonna be like, "Oh, I guess we're wrestling, you and me,
right?"
Friends. So Raquel, I don't know when she's gonna have the match.
How do you guys feel about those gauntlet matches? I kind of never really liked them that much.
Not crazy.
I can't tell
about
you
them.
one I actually really liked.
Yeah.
Could a gauntlet match also be considered a 3 stages of hell match?
No.
No.
No? Okay.
No.
Well, I'm talking about like this type of gauntlet, as in like the next person comes out right away.
2 people start, and then you pin, and the next person comes out.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not crazy about. Like, if we're talking about that specifically, I'm not crazy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's always kind of boring to me. Because at some point you're like, all right, this person's going to win.
There's one, though, I guess probably from an old SmackDown. I don't know if it's Kurt Angle or somebody. They did a gauntlet match like that, and it was actually like really like convincing that it was legit. And then, of course, at the end, they always lose. If the last person comes in or whatever.
Yeah.
Speaking of old SmackDown matches, I don't know why you say an old gauntlet match on SmackDown, but remember the old Iron Man match with Brock and Kurt Angle? Ooh,
Yeah, it's kind of forgotten.
What a match! I remember we watched it live at the time.
Yeah,
me
we
and Tim did. So one of the big segments of the night was, of course, that you can't have SmackDown lately without Bray Wyatt. The week beforehand, which I believe we skipped, so we didn't talk about it. LA Knight had called out Bray Wyatt for attacking him, and Bray Wyatt said it wasn't him, and LA Knight was saying that it was Bray just in a mask. So they get into it last week, and Bray's sitting in the corner, and out comes Uncle Howdy by himself. So apparently, at least that night, it's not Bray Wyatt. Not Bray. It's Bo Dallas.
Yeah.
So Bray comes out this week, and he's telling the audience, he's like, "Be honest, you thought it was me for a minute at least." And he's cutting a promo, and in the middle of the promo, he just like kind of starts freaking out and gets in his own head, and then starts attacking the cameraman, and just kind of goes ballistic. I think it was this. Yeah, it was this promo. He mentions, how was it this one that people kind of want him to be like the Fiend?
Yeah.
Okay. If it was this one, I'm not sure, but there was a nod to the Fiend in this. When he attacks the cameraman, he ends up using the mandible claw, which was what the Fiend used. So it still shows that somewhere, deep down in Bray Wyatt, there is a little bit of the Fiend left.
Yeah.
Plus all the stuff with Alexa that's been going on.
Do you think they need to speed this up at all?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Dude, I just want to know when's the end goal?
Yeah.
Where do you
or
end
at
with
least
it?
get to like a next like big jump as in like the character wise.
Bray's like, the whole time I was out, I was writing my new story. It's gonna take about a year to tell, but
Yeah, the whole year we're gonna
listen,
fight out.
man. He's like, listen, man. I've been writing my old story, and it's like, oh my God.
Triple H signed off on it.
He's like, sounds good to me, Bray. Sounds good to me, Bray. Me and Tim always over-exaggerate Triple H's voice. We always have.
God.
You're
It's
damn
gotten
right
pretty
I will
rough.
sign you, Bray.
It's me, shoot. God, sorry if you're listening. That's probably really obnoxious to your ears. And then lastly on SmackDown, we had the annual Christmas time Miracle on 34th Street fight, which was Braun Strowman and Ricochet versus Imperium.
That was a weird pairing.
If you've seen the Miracle on 34th Street fights before, you've seen them all.
Yeah.
They use big candy canes and Christmas decorations and whatnot. But that wraps up SmackDown. Let's end with Rampage, which we're always, short and sweet. We had a Casino Trios Battle Royal, a bunch of Trios teams in there.
It was called the 300,000 Three Kings something else in Battle
I'll bring
Royale.
it up. It was the too long of a name, needs to be cut short. Longest match name ever. It was All Elite Wrestling, Rampage, Holiday Bash, $300,000, Three Kings, Christmas Casino Trios Royale.
Horrible.
Now,
How
this is a
high
match
were you
with-
when you made that name?
doesn't it sound like something a cokehead would? It's like,
Whoa,
Christmas
whoa.
Casino.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know who that person would be. I don't know who would be that cokehead.
Oh.
No names. No names. No first and last names on it.
Think about for AEW Rampage, we're gonna have the $300,000 Three Kings Christmas Casino Trios Royale.
All right.
You know what? I feel like he actually did say that to the crowd.
He probably did, because
Yeah.
that's what he does. Anyway, this is a match consisting of teams of three, all in there at
We
once.
know, just to
We've
be
seen
clear,
it-
we don't know who he is, okay? We're not insinuating or saying that anybody does any sort of illegal substance.
Definitely not a boss that parties with his employees.
All right.
that's
So
for sure.
anyway, what else you got?
So this match had teams of three in it, treating it like a
Trios.
battle. Yeah, trios teams in it, treating it like a battle royale. Even though if one got eliminated, the others would stay in. Tell me why House of Black wasn't in it then.
They don't need $300,000.
All right. Well,
Yeah, there.
it came down to
And what is $300,000 good for you do in the other world? Nothing.
I don't know, such a weird number too.
You can't buy your witch's brew and shit with that.
And his face.
It came down to Claudio and Top Flight, Dante Martin, and is it Darius?
Yep.
He's always
Darius.
hurt, so I don't see him that often. So I
One of
forget
those
his name.
two are always hurt.
Well, their third partner was AR Fox, but he got eliminated early. Well, the Martin brothers teamed up and got Claudio out of there, so they ended up winning. What this
Yeah.
does for them, does it get them a... Yeah, it was just $300,000.
They got $300,000.
Cool.
So $100,000 each for them.
Awesome.
That's it.
And then our main event was Anthony Bowens teaming up with Daddy Ass, Billy Gunn, versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. And in the end, the winners were Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
Team TNA.
Yeah, that's Team TNA. They came out, their music, they mixed it together in some weird intro.
I don't like the whole group for them.
No.
It was boring to me.
That wraps it up, guys.
Oh, sorry on that note.
Well, if that wraps it up, I
It was
will
boring to
close.
me. All right.
Well, like usual, if that wraps it up, I, Talk Wrestling, Tim Gilbert, will close us out here with our classic show of the week. And this week's classic show of the week is SummerSlam 2009. Now, I want to go over some of the matches from that show because as it's aged, I feel like it's become an even better show. It's funny how that works. Like, you look back on some of the names and you're like, wow, this was a stacked card. So, here we go. So, you got Kelly and Eve Torres versus Beth Phoenix, and then there's a big 15 Diva Battle Royal that starts off the show. But those were the last three competitors. Rey Mysterio and Dolph Ziggler, Jack Swagger and MVP, Chris Jericho and The Big Show versus
Swagger.
JTG and Shad Gaspar. Rest in peace, Shad Gaspar.
Oh, yeah.
And the last four matches are the ones in particular that I recommend the show for. DX, Triple H and Shawn Michaels, against Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase Jr. So,
yeah.
You said Triple H?
Triple H.
Triple H.
All right, so then you have you have William Regal, who we talk about a lot. All right. We have William Regal, who we talk about a lot, versus Christian. And get ready for these last two matches, okay? You have John Cena versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. And the last match of the night in a TLC match, Jeff Hardy versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight title. Banger.
Ooh.
So that was a good one I came across. I rewatched it the other day. It was a great show. That's my recommendation for the week. Thank you all so much for joining us for episode 65. Now, Jeremy, we're going to ask you live right now on air. This is unexpected. So Andy will be in Florida. Booker Andy will be in Florida next week. He might have to record an hour later. Can you record?
I was supposed to be in Florida this past week.
Yes.
But me and Tim had a death in the family, and my Florida trip got postponed. But that's also still why we missed last week, is because of the death in the family. So I will be going to Florida this coming week. Jeremy. Do you want to record?
Can you record at 9 o'clock p.m. instead of 8?
Your time.
Yeah, I'm good.
Because I'll be an hour behind. So if I record at 8 your time, I'm in Pensacola, though. It's on the Panhandle.
All right.
So
I was like, Florida's still the same time, guys.
It's 7 o'clock my time, and I probably would be at like dinner or something, you know.
All right, yeah.
So
that's cool.
With that being said, I can confirm that we will be back next week with episode 66.
66.
We're not taking another break. Andy's going to do the show from the road. He's going to bring his gear, his podcast gear, with him down to Florida.
2 laptops.
Yeah, he's going to be traveling.
Shitty Mac.
Well, all right. Thank you all so much for joining us. We will see you next week. We hope everybody had a great holiday.
Called The Jizz.
The Jizz. All right. We'll see you next week. Have a good one.